Thank you again for making the time available in your schedules to attend this conference of ours. And I guess also thank you to all the speakers, but also my team who's put together this showcase of managers and ideas that we include in most of our solutions. And then maybe secondly, just remember, I think Andrew said yesterday that Jeanette Murray, who's the chairperson of the MGIM board in London, but also the deputy CEO of Momentum Metropolitan, she fell unwell and couldn't travel to London. But Martin Rickert, who heads up our Momentum Investments retail business in South Africa, will share a few thoughts about Momentum Metropolitan and about the trends that we see and how we're dealing with that. So Martin, without further ado, over to you.
Morning, everyone. This is officially my first think tank, so it is such an honor and privilege for me to join the session. And no pressure on last minute, obviously being asked to represent Jeanette as well. I'll do my absolute best in order to represent her. But what I cannot offer is the high heels that Jeanette would have wore. So I hope that was not your expectation. So my job this morning really is to give you a bit of an update on what Momentum is keeping ourselves busy with. And I want to frame it in the context of remaining relevant in a world that is actually being disrupted at the moment. So we came across a nice, interesting concept. Now, the economists in the room probably will not be new to you, but Joseph Schumpeter actually defined the term creative disruption. And he defined it as the following. It's a process of industrial mutation that incessantly revolutionizes the economic structure from within, incessantly destroying the old one and incessantly creating a new one. Now, this is quite an aggressive definition. I absolutely understand that. But it did make sense to me and is a wonderful metaphor for what our industry, at the very least, are experiencing at the moment. So what this theory really implies is that destruction theory treats economics as an organic and a dynamic process. And hence, really, it's in stark contrast with the typical economic models that's looking for equilibrium. And hence, this implies that you'll have to continuously change and evolve in order to find continuously equilibrium in your space. Now, as the word destruction also implies, it does mean that there will be winners and losers as part of this process. And anyone the producers and the workers that's committed to old ways of work or old technology will ultimately be left behind. And those entrepreneurs that are continuously evolving will be the winners as part of the process. Now, couple this with an environment where, as we know, disruption is absolutely snowballing. Now, part of this economic theory also implies that the cycles of innovation is exponentially increasing over time. And as you can see here on the screen, if you look at the innovation cycles about 200 years or 250 years ago, being a 60-year cycle has materially reduced now to a period that is less than 25 years. And I think you'll agree that in the world that we are operating in, even 25 years is a very long time in terms of what we are seeing. So what I am implying is that for order for us to stay relevant in this space, we actually need to be part of the disruption as opposed to being disrupted by the world around us. And as creative disruption also implies, it's not only that's being done to you from the outside, but it also implies that the disruption has to come from within. And that's at the very least what we at Momentum are starting to prepare for. So what am I referring to if I talk to the disruption in our space? So this is not going to be new to you, but a few things that really has already been highlighted over the last day, and certainly trends that we are seeing in our industry, but also abroad. Now, the first one really is post-pandemic, but I actually want to call it post-Putin, because I think yesterday has really highlighted the absolute chaos that's being seen in the world, caused by all the disruptions over the last few years in the economic space. Digital disruption is a word that we've really become used to and accustomed to over the last few years. And an interesting survey there from Broadreach Survey that indicated that almost 3/4 of advisors indicated that they lost some form of a business because they were unable to adapt to the digital world and almost get their clients over the line. Now, I've had a few discussions with financial advisors over the last few days, and that's very relevant. It seems that certain advisors and their clients have been able to adapt, and in fact, they've embraced it. I mean, a discussion with Jared last night has really indicated that the digital world has actually created an enormous opportunity for the advisor sets. But I also heard that some of the clients and client segments have not necessarily adapted yet, and I think that is possibly part of that 77%. That will then possibly be negatively affected. Also interesting from an investment innovation perspective. I mean, I haven't been part of the actual investment management industry. I'm more on the retail side for a long time. And just the incredible innovation and the complexity that's arising out of yesterday's discussions, I think we have to acknowledge that the investment world is becoming increasingly complex. And that's why we are not surprised to see that financial advisors are more partnering with the likes of discretionary fund managers to help them in this incredibly complex world, where the likes of digital assets is starting to become part of our narrative. And we as advisors need to determine what do we do with that and how do we actually incorporate it as part of our process. Something that is increasingly a bigger burden for us as a business, and I'm sure for each one of you as well, is the regulatory changes. What we have seen in South Africa, at least in the last few years, is an incredible increase in the levels of regulations and the scrutiny from the regulatory space. And unfortunately, we're not seeing that slowing down. In fact, we're actually seeing and anticipating material more changes coming, which, needless to say, increases the costs and the complexity that you and your business have to spend time on. And then what we've seen yesterday from Paul Nixon, the clients' demands and behaviors, I mean, just the new world of behavioral economics is for us a fascinating space where clients and their behavior are directly impacting the outcomes and the financial goals that they actually can or cannot reach. And that demand between what clients want from their advisors versus what advisors think they want from their clients want from them, there's quite a big misalignment with only a 40% correlation in a recent survey from Morningstar. Now, I think what is important here is that all of these changes, yes, are sometimes being external, but many of this is also coming from within our own industry. And the question really is what are we as Momentum doing in order to respond and remain relevant in this space? Now, maybe at a very high level, for those of you that are following us as a company, you will know that since the return of Hillie Meyer and Jeanette Marais a few years ago, lots of positive things have happened in our world with an enormous big change on creating focus, creating a market relationship again with our distribution force and our advisors. And I think we've started to see the benefits of that. Now, a recent theme that Hillie and team is driving very hard with our shareholder community is a theme around reinvent and grow. Now, you will know that initially it was a reset and grow to really ensure that we set up our business again for the future. But more recently, that has evolved into a reinvent and grow. And the key themes that Hillie is cascading into the business is, number one, a big technology drive, which you can expect. I mean, at this stage, we need to ensure that we are technologically ready for the future. Big focus on innovation, and that comes through in the reinvent space in terms of how do we really claim back that innovation space that Momentum always held in the past. And then from a grow perspective, a massive focus again on relationships and distribution. And that's why events like these are so important for us as a company. So what are the big themes in our world? Definitely, for those of you that have been engaging with us, know that our partnership with FNZ on the South African retail side has been a big announcement for us a few months ago. And we are very excited to see how this partnership with FNZ will really transform our business in order to ensure that we can equip you and empower you as financial advisors to spend time on the right things as opposed to on admin and similar kind of activities. So really the intent here for us is to ensure that we reduce the admin burden in your space and allow you to provide and improve the client experience, but at the same time also allow us to do that. So we really are excited to see how this can enhance our partnerships with our financial advisors in future. Now, linked to that is just digital solutions and capabilities in general. So as Momentum, even though we are transforming our business in partnership with FNZ on the retail side, we also decided that we continuously will invest in our digital capabilities until our transition to ensure that we continuously increase and improve our capabilities that we provide to you as our partners. Now, this is not only on the administration side, but we also, needless to say, incorporating and investigating different technology solutions to incorporate as part of the investment management process as well. So both the South African investment business as well as Ferdi team here in London is continuously seeing how technology can enhance the investment management process as opposed to necessarily just contradicting it. Service empowerment and initiatives. This doesn't only talk to client service, and this is something that we are continuously evolving and improving in our world in the retail space. But more importantly and relevant for this audience is how do we ensure that we partner with you as financial advisors, and hence how do we serve you as our partners. So as you will know, from a South African advisor perspective, we've really gone through a big change from a specialization perspective, and we really believe that our investment specialists, consultants, some of them being in the room at the moment, really is well equipped in order to serve you as financial advisors and our partners. We also are heavily investing in our discretionary fund manager. That's not only in our local capabilities in Equilibrium, but also, of course, more relevant for today in our MGIM capabilities, where the DFMs will partner with you in order to help solve your practice problems and enhance your clients' financial wellness. And in general, just we are continuously reinvesting in our investment distribution capabilities. As you would have noticed, from a South African perspective, we've materially increased our support from a global solution perspective. Natalie and her team didn't exist a few years ago, and we are ensuring that we're expanding that team. But also then just in the form of DMOL, who's looking after our international advisors from the South African perspective, a capability that also didn't exist as recent as 12 to 18 months ago. But then ultimately, we are here to serve your clients. And hence that client-centric products and solutions and almost that client-obsessed mindset is something that you can imagine as Jeanette is driving exceptionally hard in our business. And we will continue to do that because we do believe something like that do give us the competitive edge relative to some of our competitors. So what does this mean to you? How can we make it practical? So what are the things that we believe you should spend some time on in order for you to share in the upside? And the first one really I've alluded to a few times, and that is really to choose that investment solution partner that partner and empowers you to navigate this incredibly complex landscape. So I mean, we've heard incredible presentations yesterday, and we'll hear some more today. But all of those are already encapsulated as part of our MGIM solutions, which you can find on various investment platforms, including our own Momentum Wealth International solutions. So really ensuring that we provide that solution partner mindset and when we partner with you and your practice. It also talks to the products and wrapper capabilities. And I want to really invite you to come and talk to me and my team about our Momentum Wealth International platform, which is available in most jurisdictions, that really can enable you to also relieve the burden of administration for your clients. Adopting a digital capabilities, that's a big theme that we will drive in our business over the next few years. Needless to say, it is really also to ensure that we make absolute maximum use of the FNZ partnership that we are starting to build with. But we really believe that in order to fix that mismatch between what your clients want from you versus where you spend your time on, digital capabilities is one of the things that will allow you to really spend time on the value add capabilities as opposed to the more administration part of your practice. And then again, client obsessed mindset, we do not foresee that this will change. And hence to embrace things like behavioral finance and the implications thereof to really ensure that you nudge your clients to do the right things, because ultimately it will lead to their benefit. We really believe that financial advisors will become more coaches over time to not only advise on the right things, but encourage their advisors to do the right things as well. So that really is a short summary from what's happening in the momentum space. So in summary, as a product provider, we really know that we need to stay relevant in order to ensure that we are ready for the disruption that's happening around us. And we really believe that if you are partnering with us, we can empower both your and our business in order to ensure that we do exactly that. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.